The night was heavy with silence, the kind of silence that hides storms within it. Sheng Shao You had been restless all day. He didn't know why his body felt hotter than usual, why his heartbeat was racing for no reason, and why his scent glands were burning in a way that made him grip the edge of his desk until his knuckles turned white. He was an alpha and his class alpha at that. Alphas didn't go into heat. They were the ones who chased, not the ones who burned. Yet here he was, trembling in his own skin, every nerve begging for something he couldn't name. Hua Yong had been watching him closely, eyes gleaming with the satisfaction of a predator who had finally set the perfect trap. He knew this moment would come. He had forced it. He had spent months weaving his lies, his manipulations, and his control over Sheng, until he could bend the proud alpha into something softer, something weaker, something dependent on him. For Hua Yong, this was not just about desire, it was about possession. He had loved Sheng for 15 long years, loved him with an obsession that had only grown darker with time. And now, at last, he would claim him fully. Sheng tried to resist. He tried to fight against the fever running through his veins, tried to remind himself that he was strong, that no alpha had ever made him bow. But when Hua Yong stepped closer, the heat inside him surged like wildfire, spreading down his spine, making his legs weak. Hua's scent hit him then thick, intoxicating, laced with dominance and control. Sheng staggered back, but Hua caught him, one hand firm around his waist, the other tilting his chin upward so that their eyes met. "You're burning," Hua whispered, his voice low, smooth, dangerous. "Don't fight it, Sheng. Your body is telling the truth, even if your pride refuses to admit it." Sheng's lips parted, a protest forming, but the words died in his throat. The heat clawed at him, twisting his reason, leaving him vulnerable in Hua Yong's arms. He wanted to push him away, yet his body leaned closer instead, chasing that scent, chasing that comfort he didn't want to admit he craved. His chest heaved as he struggled, the shame of his state gnawing at him. "I'm an alpha," Sheng rasped, his voice unsteady. "I don't go into heat. I won't." But Hua silenced him with a smile, the kind of smile that was both tender and cruel at the same time. "You're not just an alpha anymore," he murmured. "You're mine. That's all that matters." The moment stretched between them, heavy with tension. Sheng's pride screamed at him to run, to resist, but his body betrayed him. The heat overwhelmed every thought, every piece of logic. And Hua Yong, with his careful hands and commanding presence, took advantage of every second. He pressed Sheng against the bed, lips brushing his ear as he whispered, "Tonight, you're mine. All night, Sheng. I won't let you go." The night that followed was relentless. Hua Yong didn't give Sheng a moment to escape, not a single breath where he wasn't reminded that his body, despite all his denials, responded only to Hua. The fire inside him flared higher each time Hua touched him, until the proud alpha was trembling, crying out, his pride reduced to ashes under the weight of heat and desire. Hua's control was absolute, every kiss, every touch, every whispered word sinking deep into Sheng's heart, rewriting the truth he thought he knew about himself. And though shame burned hot in his chest, another feeling lurked beneath it, something dangerous, something he didn't want to admit. It was longing. It was the terrifying realization that Hua Yong's presence soothed the ache in his body in a way nothing else could. Hua Yong knew it too. He saw the way Sheng clung to him, the way his resistance melted away bit by bit as the night dragged on. He had waited 15 years for this, and now he would not stop until every part of Sheng belonged to him. He whispered it into his ear, over and over, like a promise and a curse. "You're mine. Sheng Shao You. Only mine." The hours passed, one after another, the night stretching endlessly. And each time Sheng thought he could rest, Hua would pull him back into the fire, reminding him that there was no escape, no reprieve. By dawn, Sheng was left trembling, exhausted. His pride shattered, but his body marked deeply with Hua Yong's claim. And in that brokenness, Hua found his greatest victory, not just the night itself, but the bond that had been sealed. Sheng Shao You, the untouchable alpha, had been claimed over and over until there was no denying the truth. For Hua Yong, it was only the beginning. For Sheng, it was the end of everything he thought he knew. Every time Sheng thought the torment had reached its peak, every time he thought his body could not bear another wave, Hua Yong proved him wrong. The fire of heat refused to fade, twisting inside him with merciless hunger, and Hua fed that hunger relentlessly. It was not just lust, it was a storm, and Hua was its master. Hours blurred into hours, and though the moon crossed the sky and began to sink, inside that room, time froze. The world outside no longer existed. All that remained was Sheng's trembling body and Hua Yong's unwavering control, the two of them bound in an endless cycle of surrender and dominance. Sheng's pride cracked with every passing moment. His chest rose and fell with ragged, desperate breaths, his body betraying him at every turn. He wanted to fight. He wanted to push Hua away, scream at him, curse his name. But the fire in his blood twisted tighter, demanding release that only Hua seemed able to give. His muscles ached, his lips trembled, his skin burned as if it had been set alight. And yet, through it all, Hua's arms were steady around him, possessive, protective, and suffocating all at once. "You can't run from this, Sheng," Hua whispered, his voice low and dangerously calm. His lips brushed against Sheng's ear, his breath warm and intimate. "You're mine. No one else can take you through this. No one else can touch you like this." The words sliced through Sheng's heart. They were cruel in their truth because deep inside, he knew Hua was right. He hated it. He hated that his body leaned into Hua's warmth instead of away from it. He hated that every shiver, every gasp, every desperate sound he made was proof of his weakness. He hated most of all that somewhere in the chaos, in the unbearable fire of heat, there was a part of him that wanted Hua's closeness, that sought comfort in his voice even as it destroyed his pride. The more Sheng tried to deny it, the more Hua drew it out of him. With every kiss along his jaw, every whisper of praise or threat, Hua stripped away the last of Sheng's resistance. He did not rush. He never rushed. He stretched the night out with a terrifying patience, making Sheng live through every second of it, making him remember that it was Hua, only Hua, who could guide him through the storm. "Stop lying to yourself," Hua murmured, brushing his lips along Sheng's temple. "Your body has already chosen me. You crave me. Sheng, even when your mind refuses to admit it. You need me." Sheng squeezed his eyes shut, fighting against the sting of tears. Crying would mean complete defeat, and he could not bear that. His pride, fragile as it had become, was the last shield he had left. Yet even that shield cracked with every touch, every murmur, every breath that reminded him how powerless he was against Hua's control. The hours dragged on, heavy and unrelenting. When Sheng's strength faltered, when exhaustion pulled at his mind and his eyes fluttered closed, Hua coaxed him back, refusing to let him escape into unconsciousness. "Stay with me," Hua whispered each time, as if determined to carve himself into Sheng's very soul. Sheng's body trembled helplessly, torn between exhaustion and desire, shame and surrender. He had never known such torment, never known such helplessness. By the time dawn began to paint the horizon in pale light, Sheng's resistance had shattered. His body lay limp in Hua's arms, pliant and trembling, his pride stripped away completely. His lips parted as he struggled to catch his breath, every muscle aching, every thought clouded by the memory of what had happened. He wanted to hate Hua, to push him away the moment he could stand on his own. But even as shame flooded his chest, another truth rose inside him, a terrifying truth he could not ignore. In his weakest, most vulnerable state, Hua Yong had been the only anchor holding him steady. Hua had carried him through the fire, refusing to let him fall apart, refusing to let him suffer alone. And now that the night was over, Sheng could not forget it. He could not erase the way Hua had whispered his name, the way Hua's presence had filled the emptiness inside him, the way Hua had made him feel both broken and whole at the same time. Hua knew it too. He gazed down at Sheng with a smile that was equal parts tenderness and triumph. His fingers brushed strands of damp hair from Sheng's forehead, his touch deceptively gentle after the storm of the night. "You belong to me now," he whispered softly, as if stating an undeniable fact. "No matter what you say, no matter how you fight it, you're mine, Sheng Shao You." Last night proved it. Sheng's lips trembled as if to form an argument, but no words came. His throat was too raw, his body too weak, his mind too clouded. In the silence that followed, Hua's words sank deeper, settling in his chest like a brand he could never erase. The fire of heat would fade, but the mark of this night would never disappear. It was etched into his skin, carved into his memory, engraved into his very being.